Hello everyone, and welcome to the third episode of SPACErviews. Very excited for this one. Today we get to interview Anko, the creator of one of the original object shows, Brawl for the Objects. I am really nervous because they are someone that has formed my childhood quite a bit. I'm just going to do it, I'm going to call them, doing it right now, you can't stop me. Oh. Hello?
Hello.
Hello! How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to actually meet you.
Yeah, you too.
I was a bit nervous about it before I called actually. But welcome to SPACErview. It's like Fans Fantastic Features, but the host is an asshole.
Are we live?
No, we're just recording. We're not live.
I see.
Don't worry. Anything you say, I'll edit out later and then cancel you on Twitter with. So it's you don't need to worry about that.
That's awful.
Oh, it's fine. Everyone gets cancelled eventually. It's alright.
No. Oh no. What did I agree to?
But yeah, well, welcome to SPACErviews.
Hello.
It's awesome to have you here because you basically with your object show Brawl for the Objects formed a lot of my sense of humor and who I was through the show because it was a huge thing I watched when I was younger, so it's pretty insane to have you here.
Well, thank you so much.
So I want to talk to you about the object show community as a whole because when it comes down to it, you're basically an OG with it. One of, at least what I consider one of the original big object shows, that you were the main three with Inanimate Insanity and BFDI and
April Fools! You were fooled, weren't you?
Hello, are you back?
Hi.
What happened there?
Yeah, I don't know if that was my internet. Sorry.
I don't know what happened there. I thought you just were like, nah, I hate this and just left.
No. Apologies, that wasn't me.
That's okay. I know how you truly feel now.
No, the cancellation. I hear it coming.
But yes, I don't know why you couldn't hear me. But I was saying that I wanted this interview to focus on the object show community, as both of us have been in the community for so long. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on how it's changed, how the community has changed as a whole, because I feel like now it's so much more different than it was whenever, BFDIA was out, and I would love to hear, what your thoughts are on it. And you were also in, I'd love to hear what you think about you being in Inanimate Insanity. You won a fan art contest, right?
Yeah, I did.
Well, how did that all come around?
Well, it really was just as simple as I sent in the submission and they chose me for it. Back in the old days, I guess. All I was given was an email with the script I had. I didn't get any storyboards or anything, but
Oh, really?
I just said, yeah. And that's typically how it was back then. Like, nobody was like too experienced when it came to filmmaking or like making web cartoons or like how that's usually delivered. So they just gave me the words. I said them, threw it back to them, and they made a party hat asset.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting, especially how different it is now with BFDI hiring like a crap ton of animators of this huge full production, and it's such a different thing of read these words sent to. But it must have been amazing to be able to see yourself in part of that. But at the
my childhood.
Hmm?
Highlight of my childhood.
Oh yeah. I bet it would be. I always dreamed of being on Inanimate Insanity or BFB. I think that the closest I've ever gotten to it is having Spacebook as a recommended character in BFB 18. But I still hold that as a highlight of my life. But I would love to hear about the creation process of Brawl of the Objects, especially whenever object shows were so new. If you could tell me about what made you want to create it.
Right. Well, when I made BOTO, I was 12, and I found object shows through, looking up Total Drama fan characters on YouTube. I just put that in the search in the engine, and I found some of Adam's really old Total Drama videos, and that, then I was getting Inanimate Insanity recommended to me, and then through that I found BFDI, and I figured out that there was this whole community, and I was like for years before, I was on Scratch, the programming website, but I was making my own Total Drama type show on there.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
is that even still around? Is that even still around, or is that buried to time?
All my Scratch stuff is up, and I'm not planning on taking it down. So I guess you can find all that if you want to search up Total Scratch Island. I started Total Scratch World Tour, but I never finished it.
Oh wow!
But yeah, that was when I was like a child, and so finding the object show community, it was just kind of like the logical next step for me. It was just the same thing but on YouTube, basically.
Oh yeah. Did you with creating the show, how would you look back on it now? Would you change certain episodes to it, or how would you rewrite it if you had to make it now with how different the object show community is?
For sure. Well, in retrospect, I know that I got kind of tired with making Brawl of the Objects. I was in the middle of high school, and I was trying to change myself in a lot of ways at the time, and I was like, I'm over this childish object show thing. I'm gonna just end Brawl of the Objects and have it out of my hair. I'm never going back to the object show community. That didn't last. But it did result in episode 12, which is I know was a disappointment to a lot of people, and I made up for it with episode 13, praying hands emoji. But I would go back and maybe not have episode 12 happen and have just kind of actual episodes leading up to the finale, which was supposed to be a final 2 or 3.
Oh yeah. Ended with 5 or 6 people in the finale?
And it was a final 5 in the finale.
Yeah. I was really surprised that Party Hat didn't win, actually, whenever I watched it at first.
He was obviously the character I was self-inserting on the most, from the start. But at the end it was a viewer vote, so I had to do what the people said, what the jury said.
Oh yeah, true. Oh, wait, what? I didn't even, whenever I watched it, I didn't realize it was a viewer vote, because it's one challenge after one challenge, and one person would get kicked off if they failed it. So I didn't even realize it was a viewer vote, to be honest. But it was such a great episode. There's still things that, stick in my mind from it. The whole there's, I haven't watched it in a while, but there's still things that stick in my head, like early in the season with the van made out of yarn, if I remember that right.
Yes.
it's just things like that stick with you. And it's a big part of the object show community now, because you honestly you see Party Hat and you instantly think of the show. It seems to have became a great staple of it. But what do you think of the object show community as a whole and how it's changed? Because personally, I think obviously with Battle for Dream Island and Inanimate Insanity becoming so high production now, and that higher standard of quality being expected with One and the Nightly Manor and everything coming out that have obviously the big teams and everything behind them, do you feel like the object show as a whole has become more critical on, you know, what's good and what's not, because I remember before, whenever like episodes like BFB 13 or 14 was coming out, people were saying it was great, and as soon as BFB 16 came out and the split happened, it felt like everyone was like, wow, I hate this, now I can criticize it. And everyone hated every episode of BFB after that, and everyone was having a fit because it wasn't perfect. Do you think that the object show community has changed in that way, and why do you think so?
I mean, I agree, it's definitely become critical, and I think that's just kind of an effect of the object show community getting bigger as a whole, because like before we weren't getting like I guess videos dedicated to, you know, criticizing object show episodes, and now we definitely do have that more I guess critical public eye on the bigger productions. And I know that a lot of people have felt discouraged in the past to, like, just because that has been, like, the expectation has risen, unfortunately.
Yeah, that standard of quality has risen so much.
I don't think it has to, though. It's object shows in the
Yeah,
end.
it is, but you know, it's definitely a thing of like with BFB, I'll use it as an example. Whenever it came down to the animation being a little bit more inconsistent, because, you know, it was different new animators and they had to get into the groove of it, and you kind of expected, you know, not less of quality but more of variety when it comes down to the style, because everyone's got their own thing with it. I noticed a lot of criticism on that side of, why isn't it perfect? Why does it not look identical to each other? And like, it's something that never happened before in the object show community, because I've been in it since BFDI 24. I even remember voting for who I wanted to win BFDI season 1.
I think we were on the same time then, actually.
Yeah, who'd you vote for, if you can even remember?
I want to say Bubble.
Really?
I forget, actually.
I was really boring. I voted for Fiery.
No shame in that.
No shame in that, but I remember, like, back then it was so little that would, you know, please people, in a sense of, you know, people were excited for BFDIA at the time, and whenever, you know, they went on their break after BFDI A5 ended, like, all they made a little this is before the long break, but they made a Google Air live stream, where it was really low quality and it was just a bunch of GIFs everywhere. And I rewatched that and I was like, God, if they made that now, you know, people would be complaining like crazy.
I think you're mentioning the criticism, I guess, just generally from the public to the object show community. It does, I speak to, I guess, just how impressive a lot of the work coming from the object community has become, to where that is the bar now.
It is, yeah.
Which I think is a good thing.
That is true, yeah. Like, you know, who would think of, you know, like, Alan is as I said, is one of the most creative people in the object show community, because they literally looked at something as simple as BFDI and went, what if they were in a horrific murder situation and had past trauma? And it's like, whoa, it's so cool how, you know, the community has shifted in that sense, because there's so much story based now with if you've watched one, it's so much with that, and a lot of object shows back then were so more simplistic and just competition, winner, next season. If you were to create, I don't know if you are planning to, but if you were to create another episode or another series of Brawl the Objects, how would it differ from the first one, and what would you do if you could do anything with it?
I mean, we're still getting episode 14. That's been a bit slow in production for a myriad of reasons at this point. We can talk about that later if you want.
Oh.
But but if I were to embark on like another series, I definitely would focus. Now that I'm older, I would focus on trying to make something that's like a little more bold and a little more original to myself. Because, you know, when I was 12, I wasn't making the most original stuff. It was more just like me making fan content, and you know, people liked it.
Well, you know, Brawl of the Objects felt like it had its own identity. Even the, you know, the way the animation style was and everything, it felt so, I don't know, cute. It felt so unique to me. Every time I watched it, you know, actually, a really funny story about one of your thumbnails. Right, it's gonna sound so weird, but I was such a dumb kid, but I had a dream when I was really young about your show, and it was the day before the snowboarding episode came out.
Downhill disasters.
Yeah, and your thumbnail looked at the time identical to the dream I had, and I remember actually being afraid to watch that episode because I was like, did they steal my dream?
Haha, I stole from you. You didn't realize at the time, but
Oh, damn it.
I did that.
Damn it. No, you said that on camera. I can sue you.
No. Oh, the cancellation.
The cancellation's already happened.
Oh no.
You know, I've always made a pact that if people are going to cancel me, I'm going to cancel myself first.
Oh my gosh.
You know, if people are going to cancel you, you gotta roll with it, and you gotta make it 10 times worse. If someone comes out and says, that person killed like 5 people, you're like, no, I killed 10, and then delete your channel.
Oh my god. I mean, yeah, go out with a bang, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Go off.
That's the best way to do it. You know, you gotta leave a good impression, and if people are gonna have a horrible impression on you, you gotta leave a horrific one.
Oh.
But back to younger object show community.
Segue.
I know I'm awful at segues.
You're fine.
But yeah, it's what would you say with Brawl of the Objects? There's always something that I've wanted to know about it. With the story you had in, if I can remember this correctly, it was whenever they were frozen, they were in this like dream world.
Yes.
Do you feel like that could have been fleshed out a wee bit more? Or if you had that kind of concept now, how would you do it more, and what would you add to it? Because already at the time it was quite dark, especially with the chess piece going, like, having an existential crisis. Like, what would you do now if you could have more episodes to work with that? Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I mean, Rook's definitely a fan favorite character, and I, like, looking back on it, I really should. I was not a very experienced writer, and I was thinking, you know, if I wanted to do something really dark out of nowhere, I needed to make it really cryptic so that people could, like, peel back the layers by themselves. And, you know, I was assuming that they would be very invested, but I didn't think at the time that people, like, I was assuming people would be invested without me having to fully show them what to be invested in, and then I kind of forgot to show a lot of what was happening with Rook on screen.
Yeah.
Which is why we had the Rook explanation video at the end, which was kind of a cop-out. So, you know, if I were to do that all over again, I would write in probably more scenes that alluded to the whole Rook story in a bit more of a graceful way. Like, we're seeing a lot better, you know, writing, especially with darker themes, with new object shows like Nightly Manor 1. And I think that's a kind of going back to how the object show community is evolving. That's a great thing, because,
Yeah.
you know, maybe if that had been there before, I might have clued in that I should have shown Rook more on screen.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, there was, I guess whenever I do look back, there was a lot of dark like weirdly dark themes and a lot of object shows in like the early 2010s that, you know, probably influenced a lot of people to make their shows darker and more gritty, like even something as like dark as Evil Leafy, like like that whole scene. Oh, hold on, Alexa, stop yelling at me. God, some people.
You're good.
But yeah, I always find your object show to be so interesting because it definitely had such a different feel to it when I watched it, and it's one of the rare object shows that actually got a conclusion. You know, a lot of shows back then just kind of was like, nope, not finishing it. What do you think of the finale? Do you feel that someone else or another character should have won, or?
I was really satisfied with how the finale ended, to be honest. Like the final three, I probably wouldn't have chosen to be any other final three, and Shieldy for me was, I guess, the perfect winner because, like, Brawl of the Objects to me, I guess, just on a personal note, is kind of just like kind of a time capsule of like that stage of my life, like my childhood basically, and just having a character who was like a child throughout like the entirety of the show, like my little brother as a voice actor. It felt kind of perfect because it was like kind of made by the kids for the kids.
Yeah.
It felt cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And everyone tells me like how awesome they think Shieldy is, and that made me feel, you know, really, really great because that character was kind of based on my little brother.
Oh yeah,
and Party Hat was me.
Oh, that's cool. So it's little like introductions or like little self-inserts.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, I love that. I definitely, you know, it seems that, I don't know if I'm getting this right here, but it seems that Party Hat has appeared in actually quite a few things.
Mm-hmm.
They appeared in Inanimate Insanity, but if you think of any other ones that have appeared in the top of your head.
Challenge to Win.
Challenge to Win? You know, I've never actually watched Challenge to Win.
Challenge to Win was also a show that started on Scratch. It was the only object show on Scratch at the time, but then inevitably it came to YouTube, and I recommended Party Hat as a character while it was still on Scratch, and there was a very small user base on Scratch watching that show, so I kind of I was part of that very small audience that got recommended characters in, so Party Hat was just like one of a few characters, I think. And he ended up getting it in.
Oh wow.
So he's an official Challenge to Win character too, which is funny.
Oh wow. I've never actually watched Challenge to Win, but I need to give it a little watch then.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
Oh yeah, most object shows that are old are little time capsules of what was like the early internet where everyone wasn't angry at each other. It was a beautiful time. People weren't angry and canceling each other all the time, and I think
I do want to go back and like by myself and just kind of rewatch a lot of the old like OG object shows, just because I feel like I need sometimes I maybe like with a fresh mind as an adult I can go back and see like what these shows were up to really.
Yeah.
Like
have a look
like,
back and see the mindset back then.
Yeah, and like I guess kind of get in tune with what inspired me so much back then.
Yeah, it's always really interesting to look back and see where their mindsets were with creating it, because then it tells you where your stuff was. You mentioned there was going to be episode 13 or 14? I can't remember.
14, yeah.
Episode 14. When I didn't get that update. I probably must have missed that. Is there any is there any information you could tell me about episode 14, or what's going to be happening with that?
Okay, so to catch you up to speed, there was a preview for episode 14 that was posted I think 2 years ago. So I made brand new assets for all of the characters, and I had about like 2 scenes completely animated, which I think I had like about like a 10th or an 8th of it done.
Mm-hmm.
And then my laptop crashed, and I didn't have any backup files.
Oh.
So I was on Twitter devastated, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And I was also in college, so there was just I basically lost all of my motivation to work on it for a while because I didn't even have my assets anymore. All I had was the script.
Oh man,
and
that sucks.
and my storyboards, because luckily I still made my storyboards on paper, because that's how I used to do it as a kid, and I don't know, I just kept doing it. So that's like all that remained in my script. So without anything, I just kind of decided to focus on college for a while, and I guess that was frustrating because I knew that I had that preview up, and I was like, darn, I'm supposed to be doing this. And so eventually, in the midst of all my college, I remade all of the assets, and at the point where I'm at right now, well, then I had to finish my college thesis film, which, you know, there was no chance I was going to be working on Brawl of the Objects while I was doing that.
Yeah.
And that's my college thesis film might be coming out early next year, because it's still doing kind of a festival run right now.
Oh.
But so I'm just like rambling on.
No, go ahead.
The point where we are at right now, I have all of the assets ready, and I looked at my old writing after, because I'm graduated from college now, and I looked at my old writing, and I was like, from 2 years ago, that because at the time, like when I started making episode 14, I was really on a roll with it, and that's why like so much animation was getting done so fast, and I didn't really like the writing that I had going on, so now I have the whole thing rewritten, and the animation I did already, I don't feel like I've lost that much, so I'm just kind of restarting it from scratch, and the writing is a lot tighter now, and I'm doing some proper boards so that I can maybe give some of the work to some other animators too. Yeah. And so the whole thing is written. I still have to get the voices done and everything, so I'm not making any official statements on that. But it's not abandoned.
Well, that's good to hear. You know, I would love to see it when it comes out, because it seems that a lot of object shows that are old are actually kind of coming back, especially if Object Havoc. Havoc, Object Overload.
Object Overload, yeah.
That's coming back. Object Havoc, I've got that confused. But no, that's coming back with the whole new modern art style, and it's probably going to be pretty cool to watch. So it's awesome to see your project obviously still in the works as well, because it will definitely, I think it will have a different reception. I think it like, you know, there'll be new people coming in, and there's a lot of new people I've noticed that just only started watching the object show stuff in 2017 when BFB came out. So there'll be a huge new audience to see it, and then the people that are like me or anyone else that's been watching it from the beginning will be excited to see it again. So I think what you'll find a group of people like yelling and how nostalgic it is, and then a bunch of new people really excited to meet all these new characters, and it's going to be a really exciting time for you.
I haven't actually released like a big episode ever since BFB really like got the huge growth that it has. Like I did get a lot of attention on the preview video, episode 14, and I think it's still getting a lot of attention. I just like I need to release the episode. I keep telling myself.
Well, you know, I feel like a lot of people would appreciate you just taking your time with it and working on it, you know, when you can, instead of pushing yourself.
I've been taking my time. I need to start pushing myself.
I guess, you know, maybe when it hits 2090 and you're like, yeah, you know, I still have like 5 animation frames to do, then
don't say that. I can do it faster.
Don't worry, guys. I should release it by my 90th birthday. It will be great.
I will die. But will people still be waiting? The object show community is known for being pretty patient, so
they are. They are normally patient.
That's such a blessing.
It is such a blessing. Like, I upload nearly every day because I've gotten into that mindset of, you know, because I used to do gaming on YouTube way more, so I got into that mindset of upload every day, get something out continuously, And I remember being like, hey, I might take a break, and everyone started encouraging me to stop uploading every day, and I'm like, you shouldn't be doing this, guys, stop.
Gosh, yeah, unless you want to be like Markiplier or like, there was like a BuzzFeed News YouTube account that did like 7 videos every day that I used to follow, and I just had to stop following them because they posted so much. Completely off topic.
Oh man, I
Maybe
cannot.
That I don't know if it was BuzzFeed News. Just forget that. I don't follow BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed is already on their way. But yeah, I always ask people this because I love hearing them go on a rant about their own creations. And it's a really simplistic question, but how proud are you of Object Brawl? Or Brawl of the Objects? Ignore that.
Object Brawl is my second object show.
Ignore that.
No. I mean, like, the most intense pride I ever felt with Brawl of the Objects, I guess, was just kind of... I mean, yeah, episode 13, that felt great. It felt like, you know, that sense of finality. But I remember how invigorated I felt going to the BFDII meetup that happened a couple months ago.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because what happened there was it got so busy that they were asking some of us to stand outside with the crowd, because some people were outside, not even in the building yet, waiting for like an entire hour, and we were concerned with these people like you know, not having fun. So they were asking some of us to go outside and to like meet some of the people in line and, you know, do some autographs, take some pictures. And the amount of people who I guess saw the party hat and they were like coming up to me saying like how big of a fan they were of Brawl of the Objects, and they were asking for my stickers because I was handing out some like free Brawl of the Object stickers.
Oh man.
I was just so touched by like straight up just how many people recognized the show, even if they were coming to BFD and II. That felt great, and just even today, like seeing basically any fan reception, any fan art, like reactions. I don't think people are doing reactions to Brawl of the Objects anymore, but when that was a thing, I would watch like every reaction video I found all the way through. So I've definitely watched my own show a bunch.
Who knows? Maybe I'll make a reaction video soon of it.
Oh my gosh.
Go back in time and rewatch them.
Even nowadays, like, because I did my I did like a rewatching BOTO stream with Ian, I think a couple months ago, and the amount of people who like just like came to sit and watch Brawl of the Objects with me, I'm just like so humbled by, I guess, how many people, you know, really liked the series and how many people it touched, I suppose.
Oh yeah, like your show was was really inspirational at the time, and it still is. It's one of those shows that, you know, you may see as something you did as a kid, but it was something that inspired other people to be like, hey, they did it, so I can do it too. And that's the entire, you know, that's the entire thing of object shows. Like, it's someone makes an object show and you can relate to it. You'd be like, wow, I can do that, and you start making it. And I think Brawl the Objects is one of them that really stands out, and at least it's one of the objects, or one of the object shows that I looked at and was like, crap, I can do this as well. And as you know, it was really inspirational to me when I was younger, because there were so many characters in it that I really loved, like Scissors. Weird choice, but I like Scissors.
Not weird.
But it was definitely one of those object shows that inspired me to make something. And it's, as you said, you know, being able to go into a crowd and people being excited to talk about your show, and it's really, you know, it's a dream, really, you know, like
It was.
it's to hear people. It's the movement that you can cause in people. It's to make them feel something, and to make them feel excited to create their own stuff. That's the best thing you can possibly give to other people, is the sense of creation. And I think that's something that the Brawl of the Objects really does the best at.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, and this isn't like a diss on myself or anything, but like, Brawl of the Objects is a show that I could 100% see somebody looking at and being like, oh yeah, I could make that, because it was really simple, and the video exporting wasn't even that great. The sound clipped a lot. The point was that I was doing it, and I was having fun.
Yeah,
And it's,
of course.
you didn't have to be good at everything technical to like get your stuff out in the world.
Yeah,
I've gotten better now at all the technical stuff, so no, I'm not assaulting your ears. But
I will agree. Some of the characters, they did feel like they were screaming at you, but like, I think that was the charm. Like that was the charm of it, because nothing back then had to be perfect, and it was something that, at least for me, looking back at, like, it was a really nice charm of the show that encouraged people to create their own, because it wasn't, you have this really bad mindset whenever you watch television shows, or at least television media, that everything has to be perfect. And I think that's one of the reasons that YouTube took off so much, is because it's like, no, it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you enjoy creating it and you love what you're doing, that's all that really matters.
I think that, like, a lot of media now is taking advantage of the fact that, like, web media doesn't have to be perfect. It can be pretty imperfect, but I think that's just one of the beautiful things about, like, being a web content creator, is that you can just kind of do things for the fun of it, and people will look past, I guess, like, how professional it looks, because you're one person.
Mm-hmm. It feels like, at least on YouTube, people care more about if the creator is having fun than the content a lot of the time, and that's that human connection that other media doesn't really get. It's that it's that human connection of, damn, this person's really enjoying making this, and I'm really enjoying watching them. And it's something that's like oozed into television media. And I know it's going to be a really weird example to bring up, but Rick and Morty, it's a really weird example to bring up, but I feel like that's kind of been influenced by internet culture, because I only started watching it recently. And it seems a lot of parts of it, and the way it's written, and some of the episodes are very improv, and they're very snappy, and it's the kind of dark humor that the internet would kind of have, this improv-y, awkward feel to it. And something like even Smiling Friends did as well.
Smiling Friends, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's great. It's basically, if I saw Smiling Friends, like, on YouTube, it wouldn't, I would just be like, oh, it's just another YouTube animation. It's exactly the way, it fits into that bracket. And I think seeing it on television is kind of like, wow, YouTube has had such a big influence on just creation as a whole.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, that element to, I guess, all the media that you were mentioning that was just, like, straying from being pretentious and, like, just focusing on just kind of silly joy and just, like, I guess, joy of creating that.
The joy of creation.
We definitely can't lose that at the Object Show community. I'm not saying we definitely haven't, but, like, it's important that we need to harness that and, keep making stuff that we all love to be making, so that we can influence others to do the same.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, it's just keeping that, idea of, if the creator is having fun, the audience is having fun. And, like, that's what, Brawl of the Objects did so well, is because you could tell you were having fun with making it, and it was clearly, another milestone. At least in my head, it was another milestone of the Object Show community, because your Object Show was the third one I ever saw, because I watched BFDI first, and I was like, oh look, a new series, I might as well watch it. Then I came across Inanimate Insanity, and then Brawl the Objects, and my little stupid kid self watched the episode with, your character in it. And I was like, hey, they stole your character, and then just moved on. I was really confused. I was like, hey, did they steal that character? Not knowing that it was literally you voicing it in a in a damn, you know, crossover. But it was great, you know, like there's definitely it's just huge nostalgia for me to be able to talk to you and be able to, you know, actually hear what you have to say about your own show, because one, I love hearing people talk about their own creation. Even if it's like, you know, someone comes on here, it's like, I hate that show, I would burn it. Like, they're still, you know, getting emotion from their own creation, and that's something that I love hearing about. And it's especially awesome to be able to talk to you, because you were one of the people that inspired me to be able to get into creation. And you know, you were there from the beginning like I was, so it's pretty cool to actually be able to talk to you. So thank you so much for being part of SPACErview.
Thank you. I'm so flattered, and it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, of course.
It's not often I get to talk to people, I guess, who were from back then, who are still around.
Yeah, there's very little of us after the apocalypse. The BFDIA hiatus took out a lot of us.
Oh.
But
not us.
Not us. We're survivors.
Gosh.
But yeah,
I think that's what's really good about the object show community, though, because like even if one big show takes a long hiatus, there's no shortage of other content. Like
I know, and like there'll be people that will comment on like after the hiatus is over, being like, "Oh, I waited for 6 years." It's like the amount of dedication that the fans have, and the amount of patience that the fans have in this community is unreal. Like a lot of, you know, gaming content, you know, you don't upload for a week, people will be commenting like, oh, they're dead. You know, it's like you disappear for 2 days and you're probably dead. But like with, you know, the object show community, you can disappear for like years and come back, and it's like, oh, I was just working on this, and everyone that are still gonna be there being like, oh, cool, you know. But yes, I'm gonna wrap things up now. Thank you so much for joining me in the interview. Is there anything you would like to shout out, or anyone you would like to shout out?
Thank you. Go stream All For When. Go stream my music. Stream The Nightly Manor Volume 2. It's out now.
Do it. Do it now.
You know. Watch Brawl of the Objects. Watch any object show.
Yeah.
Make your own object show.
Exactly. Go watch.
I'm telling you. Make your own object show. That's an order.
Me? I already have my own object show. God, you don't know my object show?
Can I watch it?
You can watch my object show.
What is the title for the fans?
Well, it's called Let's Try Again. If anyone's watching this and doesn't know my object show that I won't shut up about, it'll be a bit concerning. But it's called Let's Try Again. You should watch it. It's pretty great. It is
I will.
Its host is a creepy demon called Nathan.
Ooh, okay.
So I'll send you the link to that.
Alright.
But anyway, it was good talking to you.
It's actually wrapping up now.
Okay. Goodbye. It was good talking to you.
Right. Goodbye. You too. Thank you so much again.
Bye bye.
Cheers.